This is Hatairat Ratanasuk. In this video, we're gonna learn about if and if-else statements, compound if statements, and nested if statements. So let's start with a simple if statement, the if statement that doesn't have else, okay? The if statements you can see in the box. The if statement contain an if keyword, parenthesis, like open parenthesis and close parentheses, and within the parenthesis is contained an expression. This expression is unique. The expression must contain the value true or false, right? True or false. And then follow the if statement have to be, it should be a statement, can be single statement or can be multiple statement. In C programming, we don't really have the real true or false, or we don't have a boolean. So the true, it can be any number, okay? But false can be, the false is 0. So you have to put either 0 or something else as an expression for the if statement. Okay, the condition statement, so that we can call that if statement is a condition statement because we can make a decision if the statement can be executed or not executed, depend on if the expression is true or false, or 0 or non-zero. So this is an example of an if statement. Let's take a look at the first value in the box. If parenthesis number less than 10 and close parenthesis, and followed by a single statement which is a printf number is less than 10. So let's assume that the number, right, has a value, for example 5. That's 5 less than 10. Okay, like in English language, that's 5 less than 10. It should be true. Okay, it should be true. If it is true, the printf gonna print out number is less than 10 right here. But for if a number, let's assume that maybe number is number 20. Does number 20 less than 10? Then it's false. So if it false, this statement will not get executed by the compiler. Okay. So the rule is if you don't use a curly bracket, open and close curly bracket like here, only one statement that follow the if statement is belong to the if statements. Okay. I would suggest as a new beginner, at the beginner of programming, should always use the curly bracket, or we can call as a block of code. Should use the block of code to organize your code. Next is a if-else statement. You can also control, like if the expression is false, what you're gonna do by adding the else keyword. It's the same rule. Only a single statement belong to the else statement if you don't use open and close curly bracket. One thing that I want to point out, if you see an else, right, an else alone, else is an optional. Okay, remember else optional, and else don't need to have expression. So this is example. So the code, two block of code here, it should work the same. It should work the same, but I would suggest that you use the curly, like open and close curly bracket to organize your code, to have so that you can see clearly which statement belong to what's if statement or belong to the else statements. For example here, you can see here, if the code here, if parenthesis age larger than 15 close parenthesis, and then there are two statements after the if, but it doesn't have a open and close curly bracket. So if you put this code and try to compile, the compiler gonna complain that is an error, because if you have multiple statements and you would like it to like depend on the if statement, you need to use curly brackets. For example, like this, you should use the curly bracket to indicate a block of code, which part of the code that belong to the if statements. A good programmer always use open and close curly bracket to define a block in if and in if-else statements. A block improves code clarity and reduce the likelihood of bugs. So please try to use open and close curly bracket. This is a compound if-else statements. You can have multiple if, else if, else if, else if, and then else. Just like I say, if you see else alone, it's an optional, right? Is it an optional? You don't have to always have else. But whenever you see if, that it can be if alone or else if, you have to have an expression. Okay, you can see this example. You can have a nested if. What does it mean, nested if else? Nested means a statement inside of another statement. You can see by this example, there is an if statement that inside the block of code of the outer if statements. You can have multiple nested if else, but I would suggest if you try to program and in some point you have so many nested, please redesign your code, because it can cause a lot of bugs, and then like if there are a lot of nested, it should not be right. There might be something wrong. Okay, let's take a look at this code. If you don't use the open and close curly bracket, so which else belong to the if, and then which one will get executed first? So it seems like this else may be its same indentation. The indentation doesn't matter. In the compiler, it's gonna check the later else and then check the next if. So this if gonna belong to this else gonna belong to the next if. This else if gonna belong to the next if. So this code gonna be, it should look similar like this. So you can see the red part, the left hand side. If you don't use the curly bracket, it's gonna take some time to understand your code. But if you use the curly bracket, you're gonna understand it faster, easier. The faster, the easier you understand your code, the faster that you can find a mistake or can improve your code. So remember, the code clarity is very important. Usually the code is not belong to ourselves. We are usually working in the team or in the group. Sometime in the school you're gonna have a working in the team. If you graduate into the school, you might have to program with the team also. You have to share your code with other, or you have to pass the code to the different person. So code clarity is very important, and it's gonna reduce the error. All right, thank you for watching this video, and see you the next video. Bye bye.